before they cross it over to State?
Yeah, start off, our prayers and thoughts are definitely with the University of Virginia football program and the university as a whole for the situation that happened there a few days ago. Obviously very tragic. I don't know the details, so I'm not either side. I just know that there are parents without children, there are friends without friends, and there is a community that is heartbroken right now. So our prayers are with Coach and his staff and the rest of the players and the families there as they continue to work through this situation. So Marshall is behind you. Brighter days are ahead, and we pray that you guys continue to find peace in the midst of this storm. So a great weekend for us here at Marshall with the 75 tribute weekend and all that came with that. I know the game is a huge part of that, but there were so many other events that went on, along with that, the weekend. Obviously, the fountain ceremony was phenomenal. The speakers, the students that came out, the families that were there, the supporters. Again, a great opportunity for Marshall University to continue to show the country our strength, what family truly means, and why Marshall is so special. So as we continue to honor the 75 in our daily walks, this weekend was a great example of Marshall pulling together. Phenomenal challenge this week. Coach Helton and his staff have done a really good job this season. It's one of those Sun Belt teams that, midway through the first part of the season, upsets a Power 5 program. A traditional powerhouse, if you may say. So definitely got talent on their football team. I think Coach and his staff have done a really good job of changing the culture there when he got in to what they want it to be. Some connections there. Jared Benko, their athletic director, and myself were together at Mississippi State. He's been a great resource to me long before I got to become a head coach, long before he got to become an AD. Guys on that staff that I know, obviously some really good players. So it's going to be a great challenge, great opportunity to go down and battle another conference opponent. So with that, we'll open up for questions.
When you look at what their quarterback is able to do, what kind of challenge does he present as far as defensively for you guys? Yeah,
again, what they do is they spread you out, and they kind of force you to play in space, which the more players playing in space, the more you see how much athleticism you truly have or don't have on your team. One of the toughest things in football to do is to tackle a moving object in space. That's why everybody tries to get as many people around the ball in the run game as they can. But their pass game is really efficient. The quarterback does a really good job of getting the ball out quick, so it kind of negates the strength of your D-line and your pass rush. He also does a really good job of making sure he fully understands what the concepts are and what the concepts are trying to achieve. I think his receivers are really good understanding of what's going on and where to break my route and how to flatten off, what coverages mean, certain concepts are coming. You can see as the season's gone on, they've gotten more and more comfortable on offense. Their offensive line does a really good job of defending not only the pass game, but they slip the run in on you, and then all of a sudden you're in pass defense and you're trying to stop the run with 3 or 4 guys. So again, they do a really good job of stretching you out, kind of putting you in space, forcing you to be able to play some basically one-on-one basketball, and that's tough to do in a football game.
Are they a little bit like a coastal coach in how they get rid of it quick?
Yeah, for us, it's probably closer to Western Kentucky last year. It's probably what will be the closest comparison, if that makes sense. Coastal was a little bit more triple option mindset. Changed a little bit, not Navy and those type of triple options, but just a little bit of the concepts were triple options where you had a read, a dive, and a pitch. This is a little bit more true spread Take best matchups, get the ball out of your hands quick, let your players catch the ball running. So we're going to have to do a really good job. We're going to have to do a good job in the back end. We're going to have to do a good job at O-line of getting good, at D-line of getting good push and making sure we're in our rush lane. So hopefully we can get some balls batted down, or hopefully we can get some quick wins at the line and get to them, get them in some longer yardage situations down in distance where we got a chance to get home. But our back end is going to be stretched. And I think, again, when you flip it over, it carries a lot of impact on your offense. The scoreboard has to be non-existent, because you may think, hey, we've gotten up, X amount of points, but 1, 2, 3, and they're back in the thing. So you got to kind of play each play. And then on the offensive side, you can't let their production speed you up or slow you down. You got to be able to stick to your game plan. So it creates some challenges.
Going off of that, does it help? You guys were able to battle back on Saturday. Do you believe that gave you guys some confidence when you go down there, knowing that you've been able to battle back, and this might be kind of a?
Yeah, I'm not hoping that we have to battle back because I don't want to get behind. But I think anytime that you can respond, whether that is battling back from 12-0 at JMU, whether that's battling back, last Saturday, or whether that's being ahead and being able to sustain drives and finish games off. I think anytime you can respond, it helps you respond again, because you can recall some familiar situations, to the guys. Hey, this is just like, X, Y, and Z. Hey, we've been here before. I think the key is finding out ways to start fast and not have to get in situations where responding to something that someone else has done is the cause. We should be responding because, hey, the offense went out and put a really good drive, put points on the board. Defense wants to respond to that. Special teams wants to respond to that. So hopefully that's the plan. But obviously having any type of experience in adversity and responding will definitely help.
Coach, we were talking to Micah earlier, your back end guys, your whole defense has been really good this year. They kind of take it as a challenge to play a game like this because there are going to be opportunities for them to make a lot of plays.
Yeah, I think right now our defense is playing with a lot of confidence, and I think that's the entire defense. And we talked in the summer, there's confidence and there's real confidence. Confidence is just jumping up and saying, yeah, woo, look at me, I'm the best in the country. Real confidence is putting in the work, putting in the preparation, doing the things to build the confidence in yourself, so that when you're tested, you're battle proven. You're prepared. You've done the things that you need to do to be in that situation. Our defense has created some real confidence, not only by the way they've played on Saturdays, but if you come to practice, those guys practice with the right mentality. Those guys are meeting extra. Those guys are quizzing each other, when they're walking back and forth between classes. They've got group chats where they're texting, film from clips of games that they're seeing and talking about the different coverages and adjustments. The coaches are doing more, kind of homework assignments. Here's 10 cut-ups from the game. Fill them out and text me back the answers. What's your alignment? What's your call? What's your adjustment? So they've built some real confidence. Right now, those guys practice to a standard. If you watch them practice, they're coaching each other. If guys ain't tagging off, they're on each other. If guys ain't running to the ball, if guys ain't communicating the call, and when you get to that point, you're building real confidence, because if we tell them on the field, I'm not out there. I can't make everybody communicate. I can yell from the sideline, but on Saturday, I sound just like 24,000 people that's behind me. So you guys have got to be the voice. And it can't start on Saturday. But that's what they've done, and I think Micah is obviously a beneficiary of that confidence, and he's done the work himself.
Coach, you mentioned after the game on Saturday that you guys kind of have a countdown, like the 17 days to take every day, and
15 days.
15 now.
15 days.
And this is your last road game. So how much is that going into your preparation too? Are you guys having conversations like, hey, this is our last road trip?
No, it's not about being the last road trip or the last game. We're just talking about 15 days. I asked him yesterday at the end of practice, I said, if you knew you only had 15 days at something, what's really important? Is playing video games at night really important? Is hanging out with whoever down at the pizza place really important? Is sitting up until 2 in the morning laughing and joking on your phone, is that really important? Or is studying a little bit more so that you can maximize these 15 days really important? Is, doing your homework tonight so you can get to bed on time, is that really important? What's really important? Invest in what's really important, because if you know this is your last 15 days, live without regret. Don't look back. And I told them, I every Thanksgiving, like everybody from my hometown calls me and says, hey, you want to play in the Turkey Bowl? No. It's 30 and 40-year-old guys running around a high school field with cleats on. We tackle each other. Somebody sprains an ankle. They're out of work for it. No. So I told them, don't wait until you get the call to your local town Turkey Bowl to realize that you're not playing football anymore. I said, some of you guys are not going to play after these 15 days, ever. I said, and I hope all of you get that opportunity. I said, the reality is you're not. So I said, let's maximize these 15 days and get everything you can out of them, from practice to meetings, from treatment to the weight room to going to sleep to doing everything you can to live without regret. And if we can do that, then Saturday's game just becomes another day that we maximize the opportunity. I think a lot of coaches and teams wait until senior day to really say, man, it's over. Well, if you live every day like you're not going to get another one, you'll never regret a day of life. And that's kind of how I try to live. And that's how I try to get these guys to understand. It's different at 18 to 22, right? You think, I'm going to live forever. I got plenty of time. Well, before you know it, it's going to be over. And I think, we've had guys come back. Last week was a really good example. We've had former players come back, and, they miss it. And it's natural. So I'm just trying to get these guys to understand, let's not wait until senior day or till the clock strikes 0 to realize, man, I could have went harder in practice. That practice wasn't really that hard. And period 3, when I jogged through the line, I could have ran harder. Let's maximize those today. Hopefully, we'll get a little bit farther each day as we get closer to the end, and we can look back and say, you know what, I got no regrets. I miss it, yes I do, and I wish I could play another 100 years, but I got no regrets because I thought about everything that I could do every day for the last month, if that makes sense.
Coach, offensively, I guess your goal would be to have a few of those 80-yard drives, right, and keep them off the field. How good is it that Cam is starting to kind of come into his own a little bit at this particular point in the season?
You know what? What's really impressive to me about Cam, and we started this thing way back, and obviously he's grown and he's regressed, and he's still going to get better. He's not having to do anything special. And that's the tough part. When quarterbacks start to really mature and really develop, they realize they don't have to do anything special. He's done some really good things, but it's been nothing special. He hadn't had to jump over 7 people. He hadn't had to break 5 tackles and go 40 yards. He hadn't had to circle the field and, swivel out of one and throw one. He hadn't had to do that. He just had to do his job. And I think that's helped alleviate some of the pressure. No, I don't have to throw for 450 yards and 6 touchdowns and no interception. No, I got to hand it off when I'm supposed to hand it off. I got to make good decisions. I got to do a really good job of managing the tempo and the flow of the game. I got to communicate to the coaches when I see something that I like or don't like. And then I got to take care of the ball. And if we can continue to do that, the other pieces around Cam will allow Cam to continue to progress. And I think that's what's helped. You look at those drives. If he didn't have Fancher on his back, you wouldn't know who he was. You would just think, oh, he's the quarterback, he's doing a good job, he's not doing anything special. But then when you look at the stat sheet, or you look at the game and you really break it down, you're like, well, that's a good decision there. That's a really good read there. That's a really good throw there. So those are the things that, I'm really impressed about what he's been able to do these last couple of weeks. And I think he's going to continue to get better if he can just do his job. I think when you start trying to press, which we all did earlier in the season, because we were trying to press and trying to make something happen, I think when you just do your job, the flow of the game and the talent we have will take care of itself.
And what kind of helps with that flow is the chemistry that those guys have, right? Like it kind of seems like the offensive side of the ball has really good chemistry right now.
Yeah, because I'm over there all the time, so they're forced to like each other. It's just kind of like like grade school with uniforms. We're all going to dress like. No, I think again, as a team, I think our guys really like each other. I think our guys spend a lot of time together. I think our guys truly enjoy being around each other. We've got a few more characters on defense. When you look at Owen and you look at Kobe, that's kind of like, Ace Ventura and Eddie Murphy. I mean, it's kind of like just two extreme opposites. But on, and on offense, I think we have a lot more. We're younger on offense. You know what I mean? So we're a lot more youthful, which there's a good thing and there's a negative to it. You know what I mean? On defense, we're a little older. You know what I mean? These guys have been here a while. You know, I joke about Kobe being kind of the, the union rep because he's been here the longest. So I think that's kind of where you see the difference, but I truly think our team likes each other, which is a good thing.
Get overshadowed, but what is the Georgia Southern defense like? Are their numbers skewed just by the style of games they've been in?
Yeah, they're actually better than the numbers say. It's almost like, the old days when you look at a Big 12 offense or defense. Because they practice and rep so much against the pass and so much against tempo and the ball coming out, they don't really get credit for their ability to stop the run or their ability, to play defense. A lot of times because teams are so far behind, they're having to take chunks. You know what I mean? So you take four shots, you're probably going to hit two, maybe one. That's still a big play. So yardage-wise, it gets kind of skewed a little bit. And then again, it gets kind of skewed because teams are having to always try to be explosive on them to catch up. But they do a really good job of stopping the run. I think their linebackers are big and physical guys. I think their back end runs really well. Their back end probably is a little more experienced against the pass because they go against it and they see such a variety of pass concepts from their offense. And then their D-line, I think, is probably, to me, they're one of the more girthier D-lines that we've played when you look at the size and weights of them. So it's going to be a challenge for our guys because, again, they do a good job of stopping the run, with their linebackers, their size and their length, which is going to cause some issues. And then the girth and size that they have, they're not the 6'5", 280-pound version. They're more of the 6'2", 6'1", 324, 305 version that makes it hard to move people. And if you're going to run the ball, somebody's got to move somebody somewhere. So that's going to be a challenge for our guys up front.
How is Kalen? Just I know he was banged up a little bit in and out, different portions of that.
Kalen's like Jim Brown. Okay, so I want you guys to fully understand this. Okay, he's like Jim Brown. Like, he gets hit and he gets up limping and his back hurts, and then he looks over at me and he winks. And he comes back and he goes for 80. He's like Jim Brown. So don't fall. It took me about 8 weeks to realize it. I was like, man, this guy, is he okay? Yeah, I'm okay, coach. I'm like, man, okay. 2 plays later, he gets up slow. He's looking his back. He comes back over. He starts winking and smiling. He's like Jim Brown. Okay, so it's a little bit of gamesmanship, I believe. I don't know if I tipped the hat, but it took me about 8 weeks to figure it out. So no way the opponent's got it figured out yet. I see the kid every day. It took me 8 weeks. But again, I think he's one of those kids who, his running style is a physical downhill bruising style. I think part of his strength is he's got really good contact balance. So I think sometimes he takes some hits to get him back on balance. I know that sounds weird, but sometimes when you're leaning, it takes a hit to get you back on balance, and I think some of that is. But he's mastered the Jim Brown, play skunk and act like you're about to die and then rip off a 40-yard run. So don't be confused. When you see him start to limp, you're like, okay, here comes the big one. You should know it's coming. Yeah. Good. Well, again, I appreciate you guys. Hopefully, you all guys are making the trip. Again, I think this is another, to me, one of college football's historical venues, going down to Statesboro and what they've been able to do at Georgia Southern for a long time. So I think, again, it just continues to show the Sun Belt what these regional rivalries are going to continue to do, not only for our fans, but all the fans here in the Sun Belt. So looking forward to going down to Statesboro and playing a really good game against a really good opponent. Okay? Thanks, guys. Go Herd.
All right, let's have a story.
Where were you at last week, man? Oh, you went to Morgantown. Okay, you went up there and fired Lloyd.
Not me.
Yeah.
You might call them, they say, I said, they're passing. I said, they can't hire anybody better than that. And they can't.
You went up there and fired the guy.
They can't. If I was doing that, you want me fired? Me, Gordon G, that's who I'd be fired, because he's fucking buffoon. And he gets hired, he just fucking.
Almost like just I wish my reporter was on.
Can't fire the president.
Everybody stop their recordings already. President, yeah. You can't write a column and fire the president.
Actually, I'd like to read that.
Yeah.
Come on, do it.